You can study success. You can listen to the podcasts, read all the self-help books, follow every motivational speaker, and take notes from every billionaire who shares their morning routine on social media. And don't get me wrong, that's all good. It's smart to learn from people who've done what you want to do. Success does leave clues, but let's be really clear about one thing. Unless you actually get up and do the work, none of that knowledge matters. You can know what to do and still be stuck exactly where you are if you don't apply it. The world today is filled with information. You can Google anything, you can take a master class from anyone, but information without implementation is just noise. Everyone wants to be successful, but most people want to skip the part where it's hard. They want the strategies without the sweat, the clarity without the chaos, the outcome without the hours. And that's not how it works. The only way to truly apply what you learn is to roll up your sleeves and do something with it. That's where the transformation happens, not in the reading, not in the listening, but in the doing. We have this tendency to overconsume and underact. We trick ourselves into thinking that because we're learning, we're growing. But learning alone doesn't move the needle. What moves the needle is work. Hard, focused, consistent work. It's in the hours you put in when no one's watching. It's in the moments you choose effort over excuses. You want to know the real secret to success? It's this. Most people aren't willing to do the boring stuff over and over again. They aren't willing to show up after failing, to try again when it's uncomfortable, to stick with something long enough for the results to actually show. But if you are, if you're willing to grind it out, that's where the edge is. That's where you get ahead. Not because you're better, not because you're smarter, but because you're willing to do what others aren't. You're willing to push past the urge to quit. You're willing to build momentum through repetition. You're willing to work, even when it feels like nothing's happening. That's the part people miss. Success doesn't look like fireworks and viral moments. It looks like doing the same thing day after day after day, refining, improving, staying consistent. You might not see the reward right away, but every drop of effort adds up. Every early morning, every late night, every time you choose discipline over distraction. That's you building your future. You might not feel it in the moment, but that's the compound effect of hard work at play. And look, studying success is important. You should absolutely learn from others. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. But don't fall into the trap of becoming a professional observer. Don't become someone who knows what to do, but never does it. Success isn't reserved for the most informed person in the room. It's for the one who's in motion, the one who takes what they've learned and applies it with intensity, focus, and consistency. Hard work doesn't guarantee success, but you will never succeed without it. That's the trade. That's the cost of entry. There's no way around it. You can't read your way into greatness. You can't strategize your way to the top without putting in the reps. Knowledge is the map. Hard work is the vehicle. So yes, success leaves clues, but unless you're willing to follow those clues with your actions, they won't take you anywhere. The books, the mentors, the courses, they point the way, but the path, you still have to walk it. And if you want to reach your destination faster, don't look for shortcuts. Just pick up the pace. Lock in your focus and outwork your past self every single day. That's how you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You don't skip steps. You take every step, and you take them with purpose. That's not just education. That's execution. And that's the difference between dreaming about success and actually living it. Quick wins can feel great. They boost your confidence, give you a little momentum, and make you feel like you're making progress. But here's the truth. Momentum without mastery is fragile. If you rely only on shortcuts and surface-level wins, you'll hit a wall the second things get hard. And they will get hard. That's why hard work isn't just about moving forward. It's about becoming so good that setbacks don't break you. That's what mastery is. And mastery only comes from putting in the hours, doing the reps, and sticking with something long enough to truly understand it from the inside out. People often look at the top performers in any field, athletes, musicians, entrepreneurs, scientists, and think they were born with something special, talent, maybe, some rare gift. But what they don't see are the thousands of hours behind closed doors, the endless drills, the mistakes, the corrections, the long stretches of boredom and frustration that come with real practice. Hard work doesn't just help you succeed, it transforms you. It builds skill, it builds intuition, it gives you that edge that can't be copied because it was earned. The thing is, we live in a world that celebrates speed. Everyone wants fast results, fast money, fast success. But here's the catch. Real skill doesn't come fast. Mastery is slow. It's unglamorous. It's quiet. You gain it by showing up again and again, even when the excitement wears off. Especially when the excitement wears off. That's the turning point for most people. The moment when something stops being new and starts being hard, that's where they quit. That's where they say, maybe this isn't for me. But the people who go on to become great, they keep going. They keep working. They lean into the hard part. And here's what happens when you do that. You stop depending on motivation. You stop needing constant results to keep going because the process becomes the reward. You build habits, you build discipline, and that's what creates long-term success. Not how fast you start, but how deep you go. Let's take a musician, for example. Someone might be able to learn a song by watching a YouTube tutorial. Great. But can they improvise? Can they compose? Can they perform under pressure? That level of mastery doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from years of repetition, failure, feedback, and refinement. It comes from digging into the fundamentals until they become second nature. That's what separates someone who plays music from someone who is a musician. And that same principle applies to anything: business, fitness, writing, coding, teaching, leadership. Hard work creates depth. It builds a foundation that doesn't shake when things get tough. Mastery also gives you confidence, not the fake kind, the real kind, the kind that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way because you've been through it. You've trained for it. You've earned your stripes through repetition. And that's why you don't panic under pressure. You don't fold when something doesn't go according to plan. Because you've already been through worse, and you've developed the skills to adapt. Hard work forces you to confront your weaknesses. It exposes the gaps in your ability, and that's a good thing, because when you know where you're weak, you know where to improve. Mastery isn't about perfection. It's about relentless growth. It's about being willing to look at your flaws and work on them without ego. That takes courage, and it takes time. But the result is a kind of competence that can't be faked. You want to be the best at what you do? Then stop looking for shortcuts to mastery. Stop asking how fast you can get there and start asking how deeply you can understand it. Stop measuring your progress only by results and start measuring it by how much better you're getting, how much more skillful, more focused, more disciplined you've become since yesterday. Because that's the only thing that matters in the long run. Not the quick wins, not the hacks, but the hours, the effort, the evolution. Mastery makes you unstoppable. And the only way to get there is through hard work. Every day. No skipping steps, no faking it. Just showing up and doing the work until you don't just know the game, you own it. The idea of overnight success is one of the most misleading and damaging myths in our culture today. We see someone go viral, launch a best-selling product, or suddenly appear on magazine covers and think, wow, they came out of nowhere. But they didn't. Nobody comes out of nowhere. What we're witnessing is the moment they broke through, not the years they spent in the background grinding, learning, failing, improving, and trying again when no one was watching. The problem is we see the highlight reel and not the behind the scenes work. We celebrate the outcome and ignore the process. And that makes people believe there's a fast track to success when the truth is success is almost always slow, uncomfortable, and uncertain. This myth creates false expectations. People start a business and expect results in 3 months. They start working out and expect a transformation in 6 weeks. They launch a project and get discouraged when it doesn't immediately take off. Why? Because we've been fed the illusion that success should be quick, that if it's meant to be, it'll happen fast. But that's not how anything meaningful is built. Anything worth having takes time. Real success is more like planting a seed than flipping a switch. You plant it, water it, protect it, and give it time, even when you don't see anything happening above the surface. If you really dig into the stories of the people you admire, you'll start to see the truth. That best-selling author probably wrote 2 or 3 books that never got published. That entrepreneur with $1 million company most likely failed at 2 or 3 ventures before they found what worked. That musician who blew up on social media, they've probably been writing songs and playing in empty rooms for a decade. Their overnight moment was just the world finally noticing the work they've been doing for years. But the myth of overnight success does more than create unrealistic timelines. It creates a fear of slow progress, and that's dangerous. Because when you fear slow progress, you start looking for shortcuts. You start chasing gimmicks. You get impatient, and impatience kills consistency. You hop from idea to idea, strategy to strategy, never sticking with anything long enough to master it. That's how people waste years, not because they didn't work hard, but because they didn't stay the course. They gave up too early, not realizing how close they were to breaking through. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Success is boring most of the time. It's repetitive. It's waking up and doing the same hard things again and again. It's learning the same lesson in 5 different ways. It's showing up when you're not inspired. It's doing what needs to be done when it feels like nothing is working. That's the part people don't see, and it's the part that matters most. The magic isn't in the viral moment, it's in the years of invisible work that made the moment possible. The myth of overnight success also robs you of self-trust, because when you don't see fast results, you start thinking something is wrong with you. You wonder if you're not good enough or if you're doing it all wrong, but most of the time, you're not doing it wrong. You're just still in the middle. You're in the process, and the process takes time. You have to give yourself permission to be bad before you're good. You have to be okay with obscurity before you get recognition. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once a mess. If you want to be successful, you need to let go of the fantasy of instant results and embrace the reality of effort over time. You need to shift your focus from how fast can I get there to how far can I go if I stay consistent. That's the mindset that builds something real. Because when you commit to the process without constantly needing proof that it's working, you eventually build momentum. And that momentum, fueled by time and effort, is what creates the breakthrough. The truth is, there's no such thing as overnight success. There's only the moment when the world finally sees what you've been building all along. And that moment is earned, not given. It's the result of hard work, patience, and refusing to quit. So if it's taking longer than you thought, good. That means you're doing it right. Stay in it, keep showing up, keep building, because the only people who ever reach their overnight success are the ones who didn't quit the night before. We live in a world obsessed with hacks, life hacks, productivity hacks, fitness hacks, business hacks. Everyone is searching for that one trick that will make things easier, faster, more efficient. But let's get real. Most of those hacks are just distractions. They give you a sense of progress without requiring any real discipline. And without discipline, all the hacks in the world won't save you. If you're serious about building a life that means something, about achieving goals that actually matter to you, then you need to understand one thing: discipline is the real shortcut. The truth is, doing the hard thing, especially when you don't feel like it, will get you further than any trick or tactic ever will. Discipline is unglamorous. It doesn't get a lot of attention. It's not flashy. It's the quiet decision to show up and do the work even when every part of you wants to quit. It's waking up early when it would be easier to sleep in. It's sticking to your routine when nobody is watching. It's choosing focus over distraction, commitment over comfort, growth over ease. And the best part? You don't need to be born with discipline. You build it one decision at a time. Every time you act in alignment with your goals instead of your feelings, you build the muscle of discipline. And over time, that muscle becomes your greatest asset. There's a reason why disciplined people seem like they're ahead of everyone else. It's not because they have more talent. It's not because they're lucky. It's because they've trained themselves to follow through no matter how they feel. That ability compounds over time. When you're disciplined, you don't waste days negotiating with yourself. You don't need to feel motivated every morning. You've already made the decision. This is who I am and this is what I do. That's the mindset that moves you forward while everyone else is stuck waiting to feel inspired. People often say they need to get motivated before they take action, but that's backwards. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. And what creates action when motivation is nowhere to be found? Discipline. The ability to get out of bed and move, even when it's hard. The ability to keep showing up, especially on the days when you want to do anything but. That's the difference between people who dream and people. It's not about hacks, it's about habits. And habits are born from discipline. When you rely too much on hacks, you end up avoiding the hard stuff. You end up looking for ways to skip the discomfort, and in doing so, you skip the growth. Discipline does the opposite. It forces you to face the discomfort and push through it. It teaches you how to stay calm under pressure. It teaches you how to keep going when results are slow, when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself. That's when character is built. That's when resilience is formed. You can't hack your way to strength. You earn it. And the irony is, once you build discipline, everything else starts to feel easier. The very thing you were trying to achieve with hacks, momentum, focus, consistency, becomes a natural byproduct of your disciplined habits. You no longer have to waste energy deciding what to do. You just do it. You've created a system that runs even when your emotions are all over the place. That's the real freedom. That's what people are really chasing when they look for shortcuts. The ability to perform at a high level with less friction. But the only way to get there is through discipline. You want to write a book, build a business, transform your body, fix your finances? There's no trick that will do it for you. There's only the work. And the only way to do the work day after day is through discipline. The kind of discipline that says, I'm doing this whether I feel like it or not. The kind that doesn't wait for ideal conditions. The kind that shows up when it's raining, when you're tired, when nobody's cheering you on. Eventually, discipline becomes part of your identity. It's no longer a question of if you'll do the hard thing, it's just who you are. And when you reach that point, everything changes. Because now you're no longer chasing motivation. You've become the kind of person who gets things done no matter what. And that kind of person, that's who wins. That's who grows. That's who breaks through, while everyone else is still looking for the next shortcut. So stop searching for the hack. Start developing the habit. Stop waiting for motivation. Start building discipline. Because in the end, the hack you've been searching for, it's just doing the work. Consistently, relentlessly, without excuse. And that's what separates people who get results from people who don't. Discipline isn't the long way, it's the only way.